And Dan, you're welcome to participate as much or little as you like. So.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So welcome everyone, and to my guest Patricia here, and I will start in a moment by making an acknowledgement, and just to also let you know that you're here for the ENTRADA Masterclass, from stagnation to innovation and self-value as a career superpower. And so just welcoming you all here. And let me, Patricia, would you like to stay there for a moment while I do all my preamble? And are you okay with leaving your camera on, or would you like to go more in the background? Okay, thank you. So thank you everyone for being here. And I'm going to just share my slides for a moment by way of starting, and thank you to our very punctual guests who have arrived as well. And so let me just start sharing. So this is not being streamed, unlike others that I've done. It can be edited and it will be posted next week. And so we have a little bit more grace than normal, which I don't mind. So just going to share my screen briefly here for a while I'm introducing the slides. And to remind you about being in the right place for the ENTRADA Masterclass. And again, for this September, we are exploring V for values in my ABCs of the ENTRADA ABCs for your career. And this is from stagnation to innovation, self-values as a career superpower. And if it's available for you and meaningful, I'll invite you to join me in an acknowledgement for yourself. But where I live, work and play is located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples of the Kikite First Nations. And I'm going to actually stop my slides now, which just as a different, just to be a little bit, especially because I have a guest here who's sitting here with me. But what I am going to do is invite people to grab a pen and paper, something to write on. If you're a digital person, that's okay too. But hopefully there'll be something. I know that I'll be madly taking notes still with Patricia, so I'm a paper and pen person, and I'll invite you to as well. And my name's Rachel Newton. I'm an integrative career, I have changed my title. I'm a career energy coach based in Vancouver, Canada, and I help take tech executives from soul-destroying careers and to finally unleash their superpowers and find meaningful and fulfilling work, which is what I have been involved in since I did my pivot 15 years ago. And part of that is hosting these events and bringing in wonderful guests like Patricia as part of that too. And I will also let you, so as we think of the of career going from stagnation to innovation in your career, I'm going to invite you to set an intention, and so we'll just take a couple of moments for that. And I'm going to I will share my slides again for this, just it's a meaningful picture for me that I'm going to share here. And let me just bring that up again. So I'll just invite you for a couple of moments to set an intention of what you would like to for investing in this time, and what you would like whether it's related to the topic or something else might have bubbled up, but I'm just going to be silent for a minute or so. And so you can set an intention, and I'm going to set my intention as well. So I invite you to do that. So from that moment, I would now like to start introducing my guest and giving her backstory. And for Patricia, in her 30s, these are Patricia's words. So Patricia and I have known each other for a while, but we did do a preparation for this. And in her 30s, Patricia describes herself before her days as a therapist and a award-winning speaker and author as an emotional wreck. And that she had an anger outburst and hurt her child at that time in just from that place. And I'll let Patricia will have more in her story as she unfolds about that too. But there were also marriage challenges in this time where a way of looking at it for me is that it sounds like it was a very dysregulated time for her. But at that time, Patricia deciding to proactively not stay in that state commenced therapy. And where that led her 10 years later, I'll just back up here. So this is her husband, Les, that you can see there's a gentleman, and he's, in Patricia's words, he's not really happy. And then 10 years later, after Patricia had embarked on a therapeutic journey and then became herself a therapist and helper, he's much happier here. I don't know about you, but I think there's a lightness, especially Les smiling a little bit more warmly there too. And then today we have Patricia, and she has a thriving practice. I first came in contact with Patricia at my first conference, counseling conference, as a keynote, as Patricia was a keynote. One day I will be a keynote, but I'm just going to plant that seed. But Patricia was a keynote at the counseling conference back in 2011, and it was incredibly inspiring. We stayed in contact and then reconnected in 2020. And now Patricia is my speaker coach, or we worked together quite closely for a couple of years, and now I just check in on her when I'm needing a little bit more of a boost. And so Patricia's superpower is that she is a resilience builder. And so just I can't wait for you to meet Patricia. And as I bring Patricia front and center, and I'll stop sharing my slides in a moment, I took this quote from her book that we'll be actually utilizing today. And it's from Maya Angelou. I long, as does every human being, to be at home wherever I find myself. And I'll just leave you with those words to ponder upon as we focus now on Patricia here. And thank you to all those who have arrived here to spend this time. And you are welcome, at times to use the chat or open your mics. If you're brave, you can turn your cameras on, but that will we won't spotlight you unless you request to be spotlighted, so you won't be on the recording. So welcome again, Patricia.
Thank you, Rachel.
And is there anything you would like to add? I know I've got some questions for you and everything. Is there anything you would like to add to your story of how you came to become a resilience builder as your superpower, Patricia?
Well, I have declared, once you make a declaration, it makes a huge difference. So for me, once I declared I'm going to get well, I'm not going to hurt my children any more than I need to. I'm going to find a purpose in my life. I'm going to take responsibility for myself. Once we make those kinds of declarations, typically we take the first step and then the next step, and here we are. You know, I never thought I would find myself here at the age of 30. I just totally collapsed. My whole identity was being a mother and an early childhood educator. And to hit a child was totally against my values. So it's been a long journey to understand how trauma can trip us up and that healing is possible.
Well, thank you for that, Patricia. And you know, you said the word about values, and we're going to be doing a bit of a different look at values today as self-value as our career superpower, helping us to, you know, from those times when we feel stuck and uncertain, which is a lot of that I'm talking with my clients in terms of their stuckness and uncertainty in career transition right now. And in particular, I'd like to actually start by taking that lead and asking you 3 questions as we segue, and then we're going to move into, oh, sorry, I forgot to, I usually have my agenda slide. This is what happens when you abandon your slides. I was in a meeting earlier today, and one of my peers said about throwing caution to the wind, because she's usually can be quite contained and organized. And so I'm like, yes, I'm not going to have as many slides, but then I forget my agenda, which is one of the things that Patricia, you taught me as a 101. So our agenda for today, for my very patient audience, is that from now onwards, I'll be talking with Patricia, and we'll be talking on the topic of self-value and how that can be a foundation for you to then leverage and find a groundedness, and also remembering your self-value, which can be really hard at times of crisis, fear, uncertainty, as I was saying. And so helping remember, and we're going to be also doing a couple of practices from Patricia's book, which everyone here is going to very kindly being gifted by Patricia a PDF copy of her book, but I do recommend having a paper copy. And we've got a love heart. Thank you, Cindy. And Dan, all these love hearts. Thank you for interacting with the emojis. And so from there, then we'll be opening up to any questions that come up, and then bringing it together. And we will be looking at some other themes along the way that are going to organically pop up, and then leave you all inspired and ready to innovate in your careers. So thank you everyone for that. And I'm going to start off with the first question, Patricia. And the question is that when you hear self-value, what comes up for you?
Well, first thought is the ancient philosopher Hillel said, "If I am not for me, who will be? If I am only for me, what is the point?" And for many parents, often women, we often put everybody else's value ahead of ours. And there's 2 ways I think about value. One is that I'm lovable, and the other is that I'm capable. Lovable is a given. If dogs and cats can, barf on our carpets and can be considered lovable for just being, and they certainly don't do any tasks around the house, then a baby born into the world is totally lovable, and I don't think anything changes until we die. I'm in my 70s, I'm a senior, and I still remind myself that I'm lovable. So I value myself for being. And the second way I value myself is contributions I can make to the world, and that is understanding my strengths. And if you don't know your strengths, I highly recommend you do an inventory. Rachel has an inventory, and there's a free 240 questionnaire inventory on Martin Seligman. Martin Seligman is the founder of positive psychology. You Google VIA signature strengths. That's VIA signature strengths to take a 240 questionnaire, and pops up your 5 top strengths. And I just focus on my top 2. And my top 2 are helpfulness to others and creativity. Now, both of those, if we get sidetracked and devalue ourselves, we're seeing the shadow side of a strength, the weakness. We can end up focusing on our weaknesses. And a really interesting definition of weakness is a strength overdone, used at the wrong time, with the wrong people, in the wrong place, and too much. So I can get so helpful that people say, quit smothering me. And I can get so creative that I can create some chaos. Well, the next time somebody uses a negative adjective towards you, whether it's anal, pushy, bossy, disorganized, chaotic, or smothering, just ask yourself, what is the strength that's in that self-talk? And it might be, self-talk that you're putting yourself down by calling yourself one of those derogatory titles. I've taken the courses on life purpose. What value do I have here on planet Earth? And I concluded, after studying strengths through Marcus Buckingham, Go Find Your Strengths, very good book, Martin Seligman's work, and also a guy by the name of Elias Porter, who developed a whole strengths inventory. And one morning I woke up and I said, I know my value, and it is to know my gifts, my strengths, and give what I can. That's it. Give what I can. I see you, Rachel, giving what you can, right?
Thank you, Patricia. You're an amazing model for that. Thank you. And I invite the audience, whether you're here live or you're listening to the replay later on, welcoming you to consider how you would answer these. And I'll drop them in the chat after, as we move to the next. And the resources that Patricia is talking about, I actually have some strengths resources, so I'll include that. And the VIA is included in that too. And so now, Patricia, the second question here, what is your relationship with self-value when you're your best self?
I'm in flow. I'm in the present moment. I have a lot of energy when I am demonstrating my strengths. So it's back to my first answer. So give me a creative project, and away I go. I grew up believing I was stupid, and it amazes me that I have nearly 300 articles published in various places. I have books, many of them. The latest one is an national award-winning book. Return to Center was chosen as the Canadian Counseling Book Award. And yeah, so it's demonstrating. That's my relationship to valuing myself. And then, of course, the other piece I mentioned before, just valuing myself for being. I mean, we have all kinds of awe and appreciation for nature, for creatures on this planet, all the way from elephants to gerbils. And they're just valued for being. And so I don't think we can't forget that part of just plain valuing ourselves for waking up in the morning, taking a breath. And for some people, just getting out of bed is a major task. So yeah, so the two, I'm lovable and I'm capable. I tell myself that a lot. And I also give that message to my clients. And sometimes that embracing I'm just lovable the way I am is a fair bit of work for some people. And for other people, it's a struggle to find out what are those strengths and gifts that put me in the zone.
Well, thank you again,
Mhm.
Patricia, for that very fruitful answer. And the last one is about cultivating self-value. So how do you, Patricia, cultivate self-value?
Well, again, back to strengths, saying no to doing tasks that aren't in my strength base, and saying no, I know somebody can do a better job. For instance, Rachel's much more organized than me. Organization, I can do it if I have to, but it takes, energy out of me. And a definition of strengths might be useful. It's a talent, a skill, and includes knowledge. Those three. And I love learning, so that feeds also my valuing myself. And boundaries is another one, that saying no to what's not good for me to be nourishing. Certain activities are a setup for me to feel not at my best, not at my best. But oh my goodness, I'll stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning if I'm in the zone. That's a simple thing too. Do not force me to get up in the morning. You will not see me at my best. Knowing oneself, and I believe it takes a lifetime to unravel the onion of self, to say, yes, I'm increasingly understanding myself. I can't tell you how many of my clients, the ones that come, like the original, sometimes what I call the virgin clients, that come and they want to fix somebody else so that their life will be perfect. And you don't have any control or power over that at all. And I say, it's enough work for us to discover who you are, what you love, what creates joy, what creates a dampening on you. Let's not waste our time trying to figure out other people. That's their job. So yeah, our job is to find our value. Love ourselves as best we can, pamper ourselves now and then. It's not all about going for a pedicure and a manicure to value ourselves. It's much deeper than that. And if we have wounds from childhood or other places, to value ourselves enough to invest on the internal world, not just the external world of such a materialistic North American culture that we have. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Patricia.
Mm.
And the cultivating the self-value, there's some places in your book, some of the practices in there that I'd like to share, like for us together to share. And I've put the questions in there. If anyone wants to put in the chat any words that come up or any agreement with anything that Patricia offered there, feel free to. It's not a have to, it's just an offering. And so with that, Patricia, I'm wondering if we might move to one of the exercises to help in that cultivating, that nurturing ourselves and that self-value.
So are you referring to the pages we were talking about earlier?
Yeah, so the we were talking about here in the accelerating for when you're on your own in private spaces.
Right. So just a little bit of background around that. This is if you're feeling stuck in what I call the give up state. And so if you're in a career stage where you are stuck in discouraging thoughts and you're concerned that perhaps you're moving too far into hopelessness, despair, there is a place for giving up. There is a place for letting go. So, if I kept applying to be a neuroscientist and I didn't have the right background, my background is psychology, It'd be a good idea if I got really discouraged really fast. I'd be really healthy. Otherwise, I might be in delusion. So this section in the book is really a place that the nervous system goes into what's called the dorsal vagal state, which is where depression and suicide lives. And it's of incredible significance to catch it, catch that give up, catch up that despair, catch the hopelessness and despair soon, relatively soon. And there's strategies that you can do to take care of yourself, value yourself. And in this place, it feels like moving through the world, like moving through molasses. Energy is low. Yes, the self-talk can be very judgmental, and we want to catch the self-talk. There's sections in the other sections in this book about self-talk. But one of the very first strategies that is probably key is please get your pen out and that piece of paper and write down 3 people that you know have your back, that you know you can call. And if you don't have them, I want you to get the phone number of your distress center. And you probably have at least one, and that name is Rachel Newton. If her name isn't down there, you have some amazing people in your life. You've got elevated people. These are people that know how to return to center. It's not that they're always calm and steady and can make connection with you in every moment, but if need be, they can bring themselves back to center, make connection, and say, I'm here for you. So what are those 3 names and the phone number? Because when we get really down into discouragement, despair, low energy, it's like the tank of the car, the gas gauge is way down low. We need to add energy, add some hope, and connection does that. We're hardwired for connection. So now these days with the cell phone, you can take the cell phone onto the couch while you're having the nap and then say, this is not just a nap. This is a heaviness in my brain and my body. I need to do something to add energy. So that's my very first suggestion. I hope everybody's got 3 names. I'll just be quiet for 20 seconds here so you can do that. The other strategy when you're feeling down is get some kind of touch to stimulate oxytocin. Oxytocin is the feel-good hormone, and we're secreting it most of the time when we're making connection. So if you've got a pet in your home, that counts as touch. You've got a human being in the house, that's even better. And if you've got even neighbors that are hugging neighbors, that's good. Any kind of touch. And failing all of that, you can touch yourself. And I know that Rachel has some strategies. Yeah, this is the butterfly hug. Stimulates, it feels like somebody's rocking me. I can imagine being a baby and being rocked. It's soothing, and yet it's got some activation. It's got some energy to it. And of course, if you can push yourself out of your space, out of your home, and get out into nature, that's always good. Now, you had some movements you were going to do, Rachel?
Yeah, Patricia, and I will also add that as I was preparing for today, I actually went outside for a walk and took my shoes off and stepped on the grass too.
Yes.
I'm in Boise, Idaho right now. So it's quite warm
Oh,
outside.
lucky you.
In the high 20s outside, for Celsius, in the 90s for here in the US. But so just that going outside for that walk and the touch, the feel of the grass under my feet as well was really grounding, and just being able to breathe outside, although the air was a bit warmer than I'm used to. But so the first that I would like to offer is it's this I find is really helpful for anxiety, and it's just tapping around your sternum and your heart, and it's just as simple as tapping, because this is like in this I can feel a build up of pressure when I'm feeling anxious earlier today, thinking about when I have these events. I can get quite anxious and in my head, but then once I'm here, I arrive. But so just tapping here, and you might feel it a little bit sensitive if you're doing that. So don't tap too hard, but sometimes it feels like I would say like tapping on a bruise or something. And then you can actually tap around your heart and be tapping around there. It doesn't matter if you're going clockwise or anti-clockwise. And then you could do even to your whole to your whole upper body. And there's a whole, I won't go into it just in the interest of time today, but the tapping sequence, and maybe this will motivate me to make a video about it. And then the other one is a self-massage as well. So this is what you can do if you don't have access to a pet or another person handy. And it is, you can do this on or off your face. I actually have makeup on, so I'm not going to smudge my face. But so you can touch your face. But just I like to do the self-massage is making like a little love heart on my face. So if you imagine you're doing giving yourself a self-massage and some self-love, and it actually can feel quite nice. And even if you're not making physical contact, there's something about the proximity and the intention of you giving yourself some care and even taking that moment. And as simply as breathing. So I welcome if you would like to join me in taking 3 breaths all the way into your belly. You might even want, you can't see, but I've got my if you have your hands on your belly and breathing into your belly. And so breathing in and then exhaling. And I'll let you decide if you want to be breathing in and out through your mouth and your nose. I prefer breathing in and out through my nose and then out through my mouth. And if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated, that your exhale will be twice as long as your inhale. And we'll just do one more quiet breath together. So they're 3 quite simple, I hope they're simple but effective practices that I offer you around that. Thank you, Patricia.
I do want to mention that the breathing with the longer exhale out than the inhale is very good for anxiety. It is not particularly good for the depressed, despair, hopeless state. The breathing tends to be very deep anyway in that state. So if you want to do some breathing, it's actually faster and shallower to add energy. So with anxiety, which is a charged state, higher energy, think about somebody who's angry, fleeing, fighting, defending, or anxious, a lot of energy. And the breath is amazing at slowing it down. It's like a brake. But we don't need the brake on if we're stuck in the ditch. We need to add energy. So even drinking a glass of cold water will jolt us, right? So also touch, also the sound of somebody else's voice. So we want to activate when we're in that give up place. It's activation that we need. I just wanted to point that out. This is all inspired by the polyvagal theory research of Dr. Stephen Porges. I just couldn't find myself using his medical language, and my gift was I just started using ordinary language, and people started to understand the polyvagal theory in a way that was very challenging beforehand. Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Patricia. So those were a couple of the practices, Patricia. Was there those were the ones we were going to cover.
Mhm. Right. And, you know, the couple others are affirming your strengths, which we've already covered.
Mhm.
Even turning on music, turning on a song, a favorite song. We had talked a little bit about that. If you've got a favorite song that uplifts you. And yeah, I had suggested, Rachel, that somebody unmute themselves and sing to us, but she thought maybe that wouldn't happen.
Well, if anyone wants to prove me wrong, and so I suggested, why don't okay, look at all the laughing emojis we're getting. I was suggesting maybe, you know, knowing my audience, that perhaps even just putting in the chat the title
Your
of
favorite song? We'd love to see your favorite song. Yeah. So, I mean, I love You Are My Sunshine. You know, it was one of my favorite songs to sing to my children. Yeah, you are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. I won't bore you anymore. Anyway, put your favorite song in the chat box. Wow, yeah.
So I'm going to, if you put a chat of that in the chat box, I'm going to send you a hard copy of this. Oh, Walking on Sunshine, Cindy. I'm going to
Right.
I'll put your names in a drawer and see who. So Cindy's got Waking on Sunshine or Walking? It's just Waking on Sunshine's a good one too. Okay.
Okay.
And I like Shut Up and Dance.
Yeah. Feel the energy in that, right?
Yeah, I know. It's just like I love having that on and like
Right.
around.
You get out here in Alberta, you gotta be careful listening to some of those country and western songs. She left me and she kept the ring and she dumped me, you know, some of those sad, awful country. She left me with the dog and the dog smells. I mean, some of the lyrics of the country and western songs are so pathetic. Anyway, careful what you listen to. Yeah, there's a whole research on your playlist. There's a beautiful book by Jennifer Buchanan called Tune In.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look that
Yeah,
up
and how music can change your mood, right? So, yeah, I mean, sometimes I want to listen to some classical music or very sad music, especially if I'm grieving the death of somebody and I'm in that place of letting go. There's a healthy time to give up and to let go. There's also a healthy time to be charged and angry. There's lots of opportunities for that in the world. The question is, can we return to center? Come back to center. But yeah, careful the lyrics you're listening to because it can change your mood, and then your mood affects your ability to take action.
Thank you, Patricia. And iPhone has put in sorry, I'm going to open up this link and just see what the link is. And oh, hi, Annalisa. So it's Woman's Warrior Song, it's called. So
cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to add that here. So, and these songs are going to go in a link in the notes as well. Oh, Dan's joining in. So all these people want a book. So get yourself up. So, okay, I'm going to have all these links that I'm going to add to that. So, so I'm going to put your names in a drawer and then see who gets the hard copy of the Return to Center. Not just the Annalisa, there's everybody here who's live is going to get a PDF copy of Patricia's book, Return to Center. So we've got our thank you everyone for putting in the chat there. And so coming back to when Patricia and I were talking about this sense of remembering our self-value, because in times when, like, to me, and I'll see if other people agree with this, with if you like to put an emoji or just a chat in the chat, that when you're in a good place, it's easy to feel into, like, to remember your self-value, and that, you know, I am valuable, hear me roar, sort of thing. But when you're in those places that feel like crunchy and down and hard and overwhelmed, that's when it can be hard. And not that we're here to say snap out of it, but acknowledging that, and then having practices to help you return to center so you can find your self-value. So that's the connection we're making here. And especially if you're in from a career transition space, going through change, and then how do you utilize this self-value and these gifts that you have, that when you're not feeling like, you're talking about the give up state, Patricia. And I love what you said. I'm going to have you say it in your words about the three elements of change. Would you like to share that?
You're gonna have to remind me the 3 elements of change.
You were saying that there's 3 ways we can choose to change.
Right now I remember. Yes. So there's basically, when people come and say, fix me, and of course there's nothing really to fix, but there's three ways. No, people are lovable and capable just the way they are. It's sort of like a dusting off or a washing off, but there's 3 ways. One is to change how you feel. And mood, we just finished talking about that with the music. Second of all is to change our self-talk. The self-talk does change our mood, changes our emotions. So if I'm telling myself uplifting, optimistic lines, I'm going to boost, and I'm going to also pull myself back to center by using those words when I'm, if I'm saying I'm lovable, I'm capable, list my strengths. That's why I find these inventories really, really helpful to remind us about our strengths. So the second way is your thoughts and beliefs about yourself. And if I have a new line I'm saying now, if there's not an element of compassion in what you're telling yourself, it's not true. If it's judgmental or criticizing or whatever. And the third way is to feel the fear and do it anyway. Take the action anyway. Taking one step, not eating the whole elephant, but one step. Picking up the phone and saying, who do I send my resume to, right? Or are you hiring? Doesn't matter. As long as you do one step, the momentum then begins. You're taking a step in the right direction. So again, just change your mood, to change all the other 2 thoughts and acts or behavior. Second is watch your thoughts. Journaling is a really helpful process with both emotions and feelings. And the third is, that's really important to do for moving yourself forward with your career, do something. Take some action to move towards that career goal.
Thank you, Patricia. And I'm going to include some fear resources here for people, and I'll send this as a package to everyone who is here and present, to thank you. And one of them will be one of Patricia's, was it blog post or book review you did, Patricia, on Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway?
It's a book summary.
Book summary, yeah, that received over 20,000 views of people reading it, or at least going in and looking at it. So I'll, if you're too busy to read the whole book, Patricia did a book summary. So how's that for efficiency for you?
A lot of my clients say they don't read, and then I say, well, do you read articles? And they say yes. And I say, well, I've got a book summary for you.
And if if anyone has any other suggestions to add to that, you're welcome to as well. So yeah, so change and our relationship with fear as well, you know, they're all big things. And then coming back to grounding and reminding ourselves about, you know, how to center and ground ourselves, and recalling how valuable we really are.
I think a really useful attitude when job searching, and by the way, I used to be a career counselor in the good old days. And one of the best pieces of philosophy that I thought was, when you go to a job interview, you are interviewing your prospective employer, and that you may decide to reject that employer as not a good place for you to gift them with your strengths. And that really worked very well for many of the people I was working with. It just took the pressure off of them to have to impress, right?
Yeah, and I know we have at least one career professional in the audience here too, but I also, when I share with my clients about to help them shift the power dynamic, you're interviewing the prospective employer just to see if you want to work with them as well. And, you know, I have been like in all my, my vocational desert journey, as I call the first 2 decades of my work, I remember talking to some prospective employers and deciding pretty quickly, even if you wanted to, I wouldn't say yes. So it's finding that fit. And yeah, absolutely.
Right. And then you could say to yourself, their loss.
Absolutely. So I just want to check, thank you, Patricia, for the all of those wisdom nuggets. I just want to check if anybody has any questions that they might want to drop into the chat. I'll just let you have a think. If anything has bubbled up, or even any comments that you'd like to share. And so, oh, okay, Spencer. Oh, thank you. So Dan says, because I don't think the comments will show up in the video. So very kindly, no questions, but there's been some really amazing tips and activities that I'm looking forward to doing. And you'll be able to follow along in the book as well, because you'll get that PDF copy, Dan, and you might even get a hard copy depending on the draw there. So so thank you for that. And if anyone has any afterwards, I tend to be a person who thinks more slowly. So if you've got any questions for Patricia or myself, please feel free to email me. You have my information, and just let me know and I'll pass them on, and Patricia and I will noodle over them. And so I am going to, as we start to wind here, honoring the time, I am going to see if anyone would be brave enough to share one insight that they're taking away. I know Dan said that there are a few, and I wonder if plucking out one of them, and I'm just going to give you a moment and I'll share one of my. So hopefully everyone's writing something down for themselves, and they're perhaps keeping it quietly to themselves. For me, always when I meet you, Patricia, there's always so many things, but just even it explains a lot about, you were saying in terms of like you used to be a career counselor too, and even though we've known each other a long time, it was just like it kind of adds to the texture of, okay, she's done it all and she's still doing it, she's not stopping. So that's you're such an inspiration that way. So thank you for that. Oh, Dan here. that's important to stay in touch. It's important to stay in touch with your strengths, and it's okay to celebrate them with yourself. Sometimes humility can get in the way of this, and you need to allow yourself that space. I love that. Thank you, Dan.
Oh, I have a little layer for that. When somebody says thank you to you, you can say, thank you for noticing that I was using my creativity, or thank you for noticing that I was using my organizational skills. That meant a lot to me. Oh, we're all told thank you periodically, whether it's shoveling the drive for the next door neighbor, or patting the next door neighbor. Strengths are all the way from friendliness to helpfulness to organizational skills to analytical thinking. There's a huge range. The Myers-Briggs helps us understand strengths, as do the more current strength inventories that have been developed. And I also encourage you to start using the strengths language with other people. Wow, Rachel, you so demonstrated organizational skills to pull us together today. And I notice your strength of aesthetics, because your background has got this lovely background to the pink that you're wearing. So thank you for showing us that skill that you have of working with colors. So you can put this in your vocabulary, and it really deepens the appreciation and acknowledgement of other people. And then we end up having more of a culture of acknowledgement, appreciation, and gratitude. It really deepens all of those practices that we know are good for our mental health.
Thank you, Patricia. And we do a practice as part of my positive psychology coaching is called strength spotting. And so it is like before you go into a strengths assessment, there's a strength spotting, and so I'm going to appreciate 3 things about you today. And one is your depth of knowledge and your generosity of sharing. You're here at, just thank you again. And also, people don't know you've had a very challenging year personally, and we were supposed to be meeting earlier this year in the spring, and that didn't happen.
Right.
And so thank you for just your courage and just how resilient you really are. And then also the inspiration, how inspiring you are to me as a speaker and a writer, a very strong communicator, and so much energy. And I hope that I'm as bubbly and energetic as Patricia calls herself a seniorpreneur. So my hope is that.
Oh, Rachel, it's spunky seniorpreneur.
Oh, spunky. I'm sorry, I forgot the spunky. So, and
that's very important.
And I just want to say to Reed, Cindy has put here, it was a good reminder that there are no different. It is a good reminder that we are no different than the other creatures on this beautiful planet. We can value ourselves just for being alive in this time and place. So thank you for
Some
that.
people are treating their pets with much more value and tenderness than they are themselves.
That is absolutely true. And so as we wind down together, I just like to thank you all for being part of our journey that started off with from our intention that we set. And you might want to take a moment and see where that intention is now, or maybe it's something that you'll carry through to the end of the evening or the day, wherever you are in your day. And then Patricia's, again, very inspiring career journey that brought her here, and how she went from something that sounded really soul destroying like that, that how painful to realize about hurting your child, but then taking it and really in tons and tons, and like in such a big way of taking that and taking a mess and turning it into a very meaningful message. So that, Patricia. And then, from in terms of the ENTRADA chat of like the formula that I put together, knowing that what Patricia and I are going to be talking about self-value as a superpower. And so the ingredients of regulation and virtues that include strengths, but so much more than strengths as well. And so the regulation, the virtues and action really equals how you can leverage self-value as a superpower into whatever you're doing. And that when you are anchored in using your self-value as a resource, it doesn't matter how chaotic it is around you. Yes, acknowledge the chaos, but you know that you can come back to that centeredness and that self-value that you know that you have. So offering that. And thank you for the insights and the comments as well, and the takeaways that you shared. And I just want to bring up and come back to my slide deck here as we finish up. Oh, I just saw a message coming in here. So was the message here? Oops. Oh, thank you, Annalisa. And it's a very important. And so there's my that was just there'll be a version of this that I will share with you. And just as a reminder, if you are, like, I know that change in your career can be challenging. So you're hopefully something here. It sounds like something for the people present, or if you're watching the replay, what your takeaways have been to as well. And if you would like some support, I am here for you, whether it's through my membership or if you would like to connect with me one-on-one. And Patricia, I'll be sharing her information too. In October, I'll be talking about career well-being as a superpower. So look forward to sharing that. And then as a little bit of a incentive, shall we say, if you would like, I'm going to put up in a moment, and I'll send this around afterwards too, to give feedback about today to Patricia and I. Patricia's going to share her Return to Center workbook. So this is just a little sneak peek at it. And then I'm going to share my OSKAR Career Transition framework as well. So that's and there's a little sneak peek there. So I'll send that to you as well. If you would give us a little bit more of your time and give us valuable feedback, so we can make sure that we're delivering what's valuable to you and what's helpful to you wherever you are in your journey. And here's Patricia's information. And there are a couple of events that Patricia has that's coming up. One and they're both in person, Patricia?
On Monday, September 30th, from 11 till noon is an online mindful self-care for distressing times. And that's sponsored by Masterclass Cultural College, and it's open to the public.
And I'll be dropping that link in as well. So
the other one is October. Well, I got this right. Let me just look at my date. I don't want to give you the wrong date, but it's in Lloydminster. If you're in the Lloydminster,
that was October 30, I think, Patricia.
Yeah, it's October 2nd. Is
October 2nd. Oh, I had 30.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm in Camrose on the 1st and on the 2nd.
Okay.
If I wrote it down wrong, I wrote it down wrong, but
okay, that's okay.
Actual date is the 2nd. Yes.
So I'll put that. So, and I'll just quickly, that's my contact information for people as well. And this is going on to be in the recording. And as we finish up here coming to the top of the hour, I know people have Whitecaps games to go to and other places, and to honor the time. But a huge thank you to everyone for investing your time being with Patricia and I. Patricia, thank you for your time and creating all of this extra sharing of wisdom, and just huge gratitude to you. And I hope that this will be, I know it'll be supportive for people finding self-value and being able to be more innovative, to go from stagnation to innovation in their careers too. So I look forward to hearing how you work your dream. And thank you again, Patricia.
My pleasure.